Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope everybody had a good Christmas and Happy New Year's to everybody. Welcome to 2023. And it's time to get back to work on this Lark. I took a little bit of time off. I needed some just to get away, unwind a little bit. So I went to my house in Alabama, stayed down there for a few days, just kind of get everything back in check, kind of recharge a little bit. And get back on this Lark because now I've only got 8 months to get this thing ready for No Name Nationals. The dates were posted the other night, and I think it's like the 21st through the 23rd. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of time, which means I need to drink a lot of caffeine, get my mind focused, and get back on this thing. 2022 was definitely a unique year for me. Started my channel and did a build with another person. Took that car to No Name. But this year, we're taking the Lark. Not only, hopefully, I get it done in time, but we're also wanting to take 2 more cars with us. Ethan's Chrysler 300 SRT8. We got to get cracking on that, so you might see more of him in the garage. And the race truck itself. So it's 3 vehicles we're wanting to take, so hopefully we'll be done in time to take all 3. But I need to get focused back on this. I know when we left off at, I was doing some rust repair, and I still got a lot more to do. Especially around the door area. As y'all know, I did that section already, but I still got to do the other side. I still got to finish cutting the floors out, which I finally got my welder set up where I can run on the argon, so I'm gonna be using that. But yeah, I got a lot of work to do. So hopefully here in the next few weeks, you're gonna start seeing a lot of videos as we get back on this thing and get on it hard. The main thing I'm kind of really wanting to concentrate on at the moment is converting the Studebaker front end to the Mustang 2 front end. And that's gonna be one of these things, measure 40,000 times and cut once. So I've already started doing some measuring on this thing, find out where this thing's gonna sit. I gotta have it sitting in the same spot. And just kind of give you an idea of what's going on. These are the tubular upper A arms for the Mustang 2. Now, the way that one's set up, these arms go straight. There's no angle onto them, where the Studebaker front end angles to the front. So for me to keep the same wheelbase and everything like that, that's basically kind of where it's going to sit at. So you can see that the cross member from the Mustang 2 is definitely going to have to come back, and really don't want to mess this up. You know, I'm used to doing leaf spring conversions, stuff like that. Not really having to worry about cutting into the frame. You know, usually for me, it's making brackets, centering the wheels back up, put your purchase in, put your shackles on, and basically done in your steering and your brakes. On this, since I'm cutting actually part of the frame off, I've got to be dead on, spot on, and so there's going to be a lot of measuring. So I've already started. I've been writing it down as I go, but I'm going to write down the book, get a game plan together. The first thing is, where do I cut this thing off at for everything to line up? Well, the good thing is there's been several people out there on the internet that have done these conversions before, and I found a guy who did one on a 63, and he took a lot of pictures. So I downloaded those pictures. I'm going to be using those as reference when doing this, plus all the measuring that I'm going to be doing. And because I want everything to line up right, I don't want any hassles of it being off here, being off there. It's not going to line up right when it goes to the alignment shop, or the car's not going to sit right. So it's going to be a lot of measuring. from a lot of different points. So like I said, I've already started marking things out. First thing I did was I got the car level, front to back, side to side. So that way I know when I put this thing together, it's going to be sitting straight. As you can see here, got it on there, and it's basically right where I need it at, level across left to right, front to back. And as far as the measurements goes, I've already started measuring here. Like the 24 inches is from the ground to the top to here. I've got 35.25 inches here, which basically is the front of this to the back of the car to a point that I marked. So that way it's the same. Also trying to figure out where I'm gonna be cutting this frame at. For the front half, I want to reuse this. So of course that might change, but for now, I'm wanting to reuse this part of it. So I'm gonna be would be cutting it here. As far as what I'm taking out, I've already did some measuring and calculating from this point forwards, and I used the guy's photos as reference, but I'm adding an inch to it. So that way there, once I get the Mustang 2 printed up in air where I can move it and manipulate it, and then I can get it to where it needs to be centered out. And what needs to come up level, what needs to angle back. The good thing is where this is cutting here, it's already going back to a level going across. So that part I'm not too worried about, but like I said, just front to back, make sure that my wheelbase is the same. I measured from the ground to the center of the hub here. I also measured from this point here to the center of the hub on both sides. Basically what I did was I measured from the ground up to a measuring point on both sides. So that way I know my measurements are going to be the same. And, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of measuring. Just like marks here, I've got a mark sitting right here. That's going to measure to the front of the radiator core support on both sides. And then also go from the radiator support to the next pattern to over there, and then from over there back over to here. And like I said, the main thing for that is this thing needs to be there. It needs to be set, it needs to be leveled. Geometry needs to be right with the steering. And something I'm going to take my time on. I'm not going to rush this, because at the end of the day, it's got to be reliable. I don't want it breaking apart going down the track or down the road. So I really got to pay attention to what I'm doing. So that's the game plan for this week. Now I still got to do some trimming on the Mustang 2 because it was under a different car. So all this here is going to be cut back level to the cross member on both sides. And so I got to prep this as well as getting all this set up to cut. So fingers crossed. I don't want to do it twice, but hey, you know how things go. You know, if I have to do it again, I'll do it again. But my main goal is to do it once and be done with it. So it's going to take me a little bit of time. I'm going to write everything down in the book. I'm going to make me like a little blueprint of the front end with all my measurements, my cross measurements, front to back, left to right. So that way it's written down. I know exactly where, you know, what I need to do, and get this old Studebaker front end off. Now, as far as the rest of the car right now, I still need to get my bracer on that side. I just got my grinder back. I let someone borrow it. They just brought it back today, so I can get my other crossbar in. The dash needs to come out so I can finish taking the rest of the floor pan out underneath here. Probably, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to try to follow this line here all the way across. Then, once we do all that, we got to get our donor car, which is the 300C. I've got parked in the back. We need to get it down here, start stripping it down, Get the motor pulled out, get the tranny pulled out, get the floor pan cut out of it, what we're going to use on the Studebaker. So there's going to be a lot going on. I'm going to try to get back more up on the videos, so that way you're all more up to date. It has been kind of hard for me lately. I'm trying to work and do this at the same time. I'm just going to have to push through with it and get cracking on this thing. Like I said, Ethan's going to be more time in the garage helping me, so that's going to be a plus. So other than that, guys, like I said, happy 23 to everybody. Good luck to everybody that's registering for the No Name Nationals. It was a blast last year, and it's going to be back at the same place it was, Jefferson Park. And it'll be a good time again. Hopefully there'll be a lot more people. We had a lot of people for the first time, considering, you know, the inaugural. And should be a lot of fun, but that means I've got to get working on this. So that, guys, I'm going to get off here for now. We had some bad storms today, so I got to take care of a little bit of damage from the storms. But other than that, y'all have a safe one, and I'll see you down the road.